What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my running back rankings for the upcoming draft. Like normal, we are just going to be doing our top 10. And yeah, not much more else. I'm already starting off with the ability to not talk. So heading into our number 10 spot, we have Chuba Hubbard. This is a guy that really, took the scene of running back last year, and unfortunately didn't produce nearly as good of a year this year. The guy has favorable size. You see right there, he's 6 foot, 207. So he's obviously a well-built guy. He's not a tremendously big guy, but he's also not small by any means. The thing about Chuba Hubbard is that he uses his speed of power with speed, like really, really well. He combines them into a really nice combination that could hit you, and he has really nice acceleration. The downside to Chuba Hubbard is that besides if there's like a wide open lane for him to hit up, or if there's not like a big hole, he's not very good at creating those holes himself. He does definitely need a good offensive line if he's going to be good in the NFL. And he's definitely not the guy that's going to make you miss. He's going to try to bowl you over before anything, but before he bowls you over, he's going to try to just run by you. Obviously, it is much harder to create that kind of space in the NFL, which is why he is at number 10 here. Again, there's been plenty of times where, running backs didn't show much in college, but they took off in the NFL. So who knows? He could be one of those guys. But as of right now, he's a guy that you're probably going to take late day 3. Not the best prospect in the world. Not horrible, though. Then at number 9, we have maybe a hot take. I know a lot of people really like this guy, Demetric Felton. A lot of people are really, really high on, and I'm a bit mixed with Demetric Felton. See, on one hand, he is a very versatile player. He plays both receiver and running back. Mainly running back. That's where he really showed off this year, but then especially in the Senior Bowl, he showed he is also very capable at being a receiver as well. Being 5'10", he is a little, not heavy, but he's a bit more heavy than a normal 5'10" running back at 200 pounds, simply just so he doesn't get blown up at the start of a play when he's playing at that wide receiver position. And he showed he can be good. But the thing with, Demetric Felton is, as a runner himself, like as an actual running back, he's not the most physical guy, which is where the NFL is really starting to lean towards nowadays when you have guys like Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry taking over. This is a guy that's pretty much opposite of what they are, and that can work, obviously, but I just think this is a guy that, again, you're going to want to take maybe a bit more mid to early day 3, but I understand he's versatile. This is a guy that a lot of offenses would like to have. I just don't think he's going to produce that much in the NFL, just because of certain, limitations to his size. And, he's not the fastest guy, obviously, because of his weight combined with his height. So while he's a fine, little handy tool to use on certain plays, I don't see him being much more than, the Taysom Hill of the running back position. Then at number 8, we have Javian Hawkins, and Hawkins is another interesting prospect. This guy reminds me so much of Philip Lindsay because he is exactly Philip Lindsay. He's a very, very small person that, is very elusive in his game. If the hole is there, he will hit it. He's pretty patient in his running as well, which some people seem to not like, but, that is a good trait to have as a running back sometimes, is to be a bit more patient and wait for the hole to open up. But if it doesn't, this is a guy that can make you miss. He's also pretty speedy and shifty, and being that smaller, he's not a guy that, just because he's small, he's going to get blown up. Because he's small, he's going to make you miss. He's going to be harder to tackle. The weakness, once again, to him is the fact that beyond his shiftiness and his speed, there's no power or physicality to him at all. And again, with guys like, Derrick Henry and stuff blowing up, you want those types of running backs. And at his size, and he's dealt with some injury problems as well because he is such a smaller guy. That's just going to come naturally in the NFL. When you're a skill position and you're a much smaller person, you're probably going to have more injuries. I mean, you look at a guy like Christian McCaffrey, Philip Lindsay. They're smaller guys and they've dealt with injuries because going to the NFL, you're facing these 6'5" to 6'7", 280-pound monsters chasing you every play. Injuries are going to come from that, and you don't know how it's going to work. So again, it's another type where it's going to depend kind of on where he goes. They definitely need to use him as more of a receiving, elusive back. Definitely is not a power back, and that's what a lot of teams want nowadays. So then at number 7, we have Kenny Gainwell, or Kenneth, whatever you prefer. Kenny Gainwell is, once again, another similar guy to the last couple we've seen, in the sense of he is a smaller guy, not as small as Javion Hawkins, but still on the smaller side. And he uses his speed to his advantage for sure. Unlike Javion Hawkins and Demetric Felton, this guy does have a bit more power to his game for sure. He was amazing in 2020. I mean, he really exploded onto the scene. He doesn't have the best size, but again, he's not undersized at all. So this is a very interesting guy to look at. The one thing to him is that there's not much to pick about his game if you're just looking at 2020. 2020 was easily his one-year wonder because he produced nothing else his entire collegiate career for Memphis. So it's tough to judge, you know. It's like, sure, he was great this year. He showed out this year. But does that translate to the NFL? Well, we don't know because we only have a year of tape to look at him, and that 1 year being a shortened 8-game year because of COVID. So, you look at him, he has, favorable traits. He uses speed and power pretty nicely for the size. He's agile as well, good in the catching game, but there's just not a lot to go off of. He was productive in those 8 games. But again, it's just hard to judge based off of what we've seen. So I think this is a guy that's worth a solid maybe 3rd, 4th round pick. You know what? You don't know what you're getting. That's the thing with him is you know what you could get, but you also don't know if that's going to replicate in the NFL. So I think he's more 4th, 3rd round pick. A bit of a risk, but who knows? Then at number 6, we have Michael Carter. And for a long time, I was pretty high on Michael Carter. But again, I'm starting to really just not favor the smaller running backs in the NFL. They just don't work out that much anymore. I mean, even look at Christian McCaffrey. He was the small running back, was amazing in 2019. One of the best, catching and running combination seasons ever. Well, the best statistically. And then he got hurt, and now he just seems injury prone. Phillip Lindsay seemed great. He looked like the running back of the future for the Broncos, and he's never ended a season healthy, and he's probably going to leave, honestly. The only small back I can really think of that's worked out pretty well in the NFL so far is Alvin Kamara, and he's not even truly that small of a guy. Michael Carter is, once again, just a small person, and his strength definitely does come with the fact that he's not the best running back. He is great in the passing game. He is like a Christian McCaffrey. He's great in that running back catching game. He's very agile as well. He will make you miss. He uses speed to his advantage. But once again, the weakness to this guy is his physicality, his power. With the way the NFL wants the running back position now and the way that defenses are shaped and, not many offenses use a Christian McCaffrey or an Alvin Kamara, I just don't see many places that this guy's going to fit, because if he goes to a team that runs like heavy, he's not going to work out. So another guy that I think is probably worth a 3rd, 4th round pick. I get why guys like him. He just doesn't fit with today's NFL standard at the running back position. Again, the right team, he could definitely work out, but a lot of the teams that like to use that smaller running back already have their guy. Moving on to number 5, we have our first kind of really good running back in my opinion, and Ramondre Stevenson. This is a guy that, again, was kind of, he showed out this year. Put up similar production in 2019, but, really got a bit more attention, especially towards the end of the season in the Senior Bowl and stuff. But overall, if you look at him, though, he's been really solid for Oklahoma. And, this is kind of that first guy where he's the complete opposite of what Michael Carter is. He's a bigger guy, bigger shaped, stronger, uses his physical traits and his speed as well. But the weakness to Ramondre Stevens is that besides that straightforward power, speed, and he's not the fastest guy, obviously, because he's more of a power back, but besides that straight line bowl you over, he doesn't do much more than that. He's not a guy that's going to make you miss. He's not going to outrun you. his best bet is to try to bowl you over. And when you're going to the NFL with, again, 6'5", 6'6" monsters, this guy isn't Derrick Henry. I mean, like, he's not Najee Harris. He's not big enough to be a monster like that. He's just kind of a stronger running back. So to me, he's kind of like a smaller Melvin Gordon. So, who knows with this guy. Another pick where it's like, I think with the right system, he could work, but he's definitely never going to be a number one running back. He's never going to be your big play guy. He's going to be your bell horse, push it in on third and short or at the goal line. That's really all he is. So I think, once again, he's worth the third, fourth round pick. Moving on to our first really good running back is Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is a guy that I know a lot of people are high on, even though I have him at 4. I still really do like him. The strange thing about Javonte Williams is that as a runner, he is maybe the best in this class. He's probably the best straight up runner in the class. He can make you miss. He can bowl you over. He can outrun you. He can do all of that great. As a straight up runner, he's the best. The weakness to Javonte Williams is, other than a runner, he just doesn't do much and he's not good. If you look at his tape, his pass blocking, like if you set this guy to like block in the backfield next to the quarterback, he's worryingly bad at that. He is also definitely, like, he can catch a football, but he's not going to be like that impactful in the catching game when it comes to the running back. So as a straight up runner, I think Javonte Williams is a great running back, maybe the best running back in the class, but being that dual threat running back that a lot of people look for, even Derrick Henry can catch, even Nick Chubb can catch. Javonte Williams really struggles at that. If he can get that down, he might be the best running back in this class. But then, of course, he's just, again, you'd like him to be a bit more well-rounded. He's really, really good at certain things, but just really bad at other things. That's why he comes here at 4 for me. Once again, in the right scheme, let's say he goes to a scheme that mainly just uses their running backs to run, I think he could be the best running back in this class. But as of right now, because of certain things, I have him as number 4. Then at number 3, we have Trey Sermon, who personally is probably my favorite running back in the class. Not as in like who's going to be the best, but just personally my favorite. And part of that's because I'm an Ohio State fan. Trey Sermon is a guy that I think was majorly underrated for a long, long time. And then finally started to get some of the recognition he deserved this year, especially after going to Ohio State. Was a big reason why Justin Fields had such a great offense over there. He definitely helped him out in giving that dual threat run game to go along with the passing game. But the great thing about Trey Sermon is that he is not only quick, but very strong as well. He's not that monster of a human being that, Derrick Henry is, but he makes plays in the catching game as well. This guy is an all-around nice prospect. The only weaknesses to him is that he's just not the most athletic person. He's not the guy that's going to make you miss very often. He's not super shifty. But as a straight-up runner, I do like him over Williams just because he uses a bit more of his speed as a combo to his power rather than just speed and power. So I do like him for that. He was really solid. Does honestly give me Ezekiel Elliott vibes. However, obviously he's not as near as powerful and doesn't have as strong an arm. Not even near as strong as an arm as Zeke, but does give me vibes like that. So I overall like him as my number 3. I think he's worth a nice second-round pick. He'll probably end up going more 3rd or 4th round because I know not a lot of people are as high on him. A lot of people have Javonte Williams over him. Personally, I prefer Trey Sermon. Number 2 and number 1 is divided by a lot of people, but for me, it really came down to number 2 is Travis Etienne. So when I came down to these final 2 guys, I kind of looked at it 2 ways. Would I rather have Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry? Obviously, people would debate who's better, but when it came down to it for me, I felt like Travis Etienne was not necessarily, maybe Christian McCaffrey isn't the best fit. Maybe Dalvin Cook is a better comparison for him. Travis Etienne is a great running back, don't get me wrong. For his size, because he's not the biggest guy in the world, he still does run with pretty good power, He's also very fast and shifty as well. He is a great running back. He makes plays in the catching game for sure. Besides maybe Michael Carter, is the best catching running back in this class. He is dual threat when it comes to the definition of it. So I understand why a lot of people love him. But there are a few issues to his game. He's not he's not going to break off the big plays for you consistently. He can, but he's not going to consistently break those big plays. He'll be a 3-down running back. He can he makes plays in the running game and in the catching game, but he's not going to bowl anyone over. Once again, it's just with the way the NFL is now, you want those bigger, stronger, powerful guys, and his frame probably is really maxed out at where it's at right now, which just doesn't make him a huge guy. So while he has a lot of things I like about his game, I think he's worth the second-round pick. I don't see him going in the first at all. One guy that I could see possibly going in the first, though, is my number one in the class in Najee Harris. Najee Harris has to be number one. I mean, I compare him to Derrick Henry because, honestly, I can't think of a better comparison. Even beyond the fact that they both went to Alabama, this guy is the biggest running back in the class. He runs like it as well. He brings an extremely well power to his game as well as speed with it too, because he runs with speed, not only just power. The only thing I can kind of nab him on is that he's not like Travis Etienne, Michael Carter level when it comes to making impacts in the catching game, but he still makes impact in the catching game. He's still pretty solid at it. For his size and power, he's a great blocker for the quarterback as well. To me, this is really easy. I feel Najee Harris is easily the best running back in the class. I think he has that Derrick Henry potential. Will he be Derrick Henry? No, probably not. I mean, that's, it's really hard to ever be Derrick Henry. But if anyone can do it, it's Najee Harris. He has it all there. And with the way the NFL likes to do running backs now with Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry, this guy fits that perfectly. I really like Najee Harris. He's my number one in the class, and I don't think I'm changing that anytime soon. Although I do like Travis Etienne, Najee Harris is the best running back in the 2021 NFL draft. But that is my video for the running backs of this year's draft. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like as well, and share the video with your friends. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.